Welcome to Healing from Within. I'm your host, Tony Valen. You can contact me, Tony at TonyValen.com, or visit our website, healingfromwithin.net. Follow the show on Twitter at TVHFW. The show is also available on iTunes and YouTube. Just search Healing from Within with Tony Valen or look for the Tony Valen channel on YouTube. Joining us on today's show is Naviae Seastar. Naviae is a psychic, intuitive empath, and pagan priestess. You can learn more about Naviae Seastar by going to Naviae.com. That's N as in Nancy, A, V as in Victor, IAE.com, or go to her other website. That's ArcherMoonCreations.com. She also has a blog by the name of TalesFromLavaland.com. She has Facebook. Follow her on Facebook /Naviae, and follow her on Twitter at Naviae, the number 1. Naviae, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming back for a second time. So just to let the listeners know, we're going to go ahead and tell them a little more about yourself again. We're going to kind of go over what we did the first show to reintroduce you, and then we're going to talk about your new and exciting adventures.
Okay, sounds good.
Wonderful. So the first question I always ask is, what are your gifts and how did your journey begin?
Well, I would say that my gifts are empathy and clairvoyance. And as long as I can remember, I've been very close to the other side in the spirit world, and my first memories are of spirits communicating with me and in all the senses, touching, feeling, seeing, and having dreams that would come to pass as a small child, which was actually very terrifying at the time. But I've learned to embrace them and work with them, so they've turned into a gift for myself and others.
I introduced you as a pagan priestess. Tell the listeners what that is and how did you become a pagan priestess?
Pagan priestess is someone who holds space at ceremonies and rituals. I love to do ritual construction, creating some sort of liminal space for myself and others to connect to the other side, to connect to the deeper parts of ourselves, to divinity, to nature. Usually there's some sort of theme or intention behind the ceremony or ritual. So I'm sort of like the cruise director, someone who keeps things on track and who also facilitates at a ceremony or ritual, such as a full moon gathering, a rite of passage like a ceremony of life, or a blessing way when someone is about to welcome a new baby into their family, or a wedding, like a hand fasting.
Very interesting. So a pagan priestess would be sort of like a reverend, is that correct?
Yes, and I have been ordained to the Universal Life Church officially to do that, but it is more of a spiritual thing than a legal thing for me.
I understand. You're also a medicine woman and a mystic. Tell us about those wonderful gifts.
Well, I was trained by Karen Sanders and Sarah Holmes with the Blue Otter School of Energetic Herbalism, which takes Western herbalism to a deeper level, to a more shamanic level, where you're meditating and doing plant spirit vision journeys and quests out in nature, working with the plants from seed and inception into harvest, making medicine with them. And it's a way of truly learning the plant language through symbolism, through visions, through meditation, and feeling it in your body, and then being able to work with others through tinctures and teas and topical applications, as well as more on the etheric levels of, say, like the black flower remedies and that sort of thing, where it's not actual any plant matter or flower matter that goes into the body. It's more of a vibrational essence at that point.
Absolutely. So in working as a medicine woman, I say you work with a lot of herbs. There's certain types of illnesses or something to help people. Are there certain specialties that you focus on?
Instead of working more on the physical, I work more with the spirit and emotional side of working with the plants and herbalism. I have a business doing spell and intention candles, and I pray before I do the before I actually make the candle. And most times my candles will include some herbs, and the herbs want to come into the wax. They want to come into the candle to help to assist change in my clients. And oftentimes I'll make a candle 2 or 3 times because my ego has gotten in the way from time to time, where I'm like, well, I'm really feeling that they need burdock root, but it's not a message. It's just what my mind is telling me makes sense. Mm-hmm. And then something will happen. The candle will pour out the bottom, or, some other mishap, and I'm making it again. And then I'll say, okay, how did I get in the way? How did my mind step in and hinder me from really hearing spirit? And then it'll kind of click, and I'll, use something else, and then it comes out perfect, and I'll get really great results after that. But it's humbling, because if it's not spirit guided, it just doesn't work out for me.
Yeah, absolutely, and I understand that. Go ahead.
It's like a little check and balance, foolproof system that steps in. It says, no, you're in the way.
Right.
You do it.
Yeah.
Listen deeper.
Very interesting. So, do you do like love spells and things like of that kind? I mean, that would influence other people's actions. Like, you know what I mean? Do you do that type of work, and what do you consider that okay, or what is the norm on that?
Well, every witch and every magical practitioner has their own opinion on this, but my personal opinion is doing a love spell that's like a commanding love spell, like, for example, I'm in love with Tony, and I want him to love me back, period. Not giving any space for Tony's free will. I would consider that black or gray at the very least, and that's considered controlling or manipulative magic that will boomerang back onto the person who's creating the spell and casting the spell, and also the person who it's being cast for. So I don't do magic that way. I feel like if someone wants to find love and has someone in mind, and it's not naturally gelling for them for some reason, this person isn't interested or are unavailable, then what I will encourage my clients to do is to open to the universe to receive the most amazing, perfect love for them at this time, and not put a name or a face on it. And hopefully that person that is the object of their desire will step forward by some natural causes, instead of willing and commanding them to leave their current partner or to suddenly become interested that when they weren't. In my past experience, because everyone has dabbled in that sort of thing, mm-hmm. In our early days of working with magic, they've all, horribly backfired for people that I've known. I don't recommend it. I think that it's like forcing the river, and there's repercussions for it. And those love connections that are cast out of love spells rarely work out.
Yeah, because
it's sort of like it's like a bit of a abomination and abuse of power, in my opinion. But it's not only in love spells that those sort of things happen. I wish I could say that all people who have magical ability or a sense of magic about them, use their morals to their highest and have a good ethics. That's not been the case, in my opinion, in my experience, which is sad. But I encourage my students and my clients to kind of take the high road and to think of the law of return. What you put out comes back to you. So put out good magic, put out good energy. If there's something that won't resolve itself, then you have to look deeper. You have to turn inwards and not look outside yourself and say, well, they're, X, Y, and Z. Well, what are you doing? What am I doing? How can I shift? So it's really the outer world is just a reflection of the inner world. So there's something going on with you that you need to come to terms with.
Absolutely. So the solution is within that person, and not so much the spell to fix others. So, yeah. When someone is looking for someone to provide those services, what should they look for? What's the sign of someone that will do good and someone that will not do good? What should people look out for?
Well, first and foremost, I feel that everyone has a sort of divine compass guiding them in their belly somewhere. That if someone has a creepy energy, they usually can feel it. And if for some reason they can't trust it or that doesn't make itself apparent to them, the other thing that they can look for in a practitioner or in a counselor, medicine person, whatever you want to call it, is someone who really listens to you and will work with you and kind of point you in the right direction, but maybe not tell you the answer, sort of put you on the right path and then help you to kind of figure it out, but not tell you what is right or wrong. More of like an encouraging versus telling you what to do. And also the price. I've had people come to me and they've paid hundreds and hundreds and thousands of dollars to make this happen or that happen, and there's some practitioner that has taken all this money from them and really is only doing like a candle magic spell. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they're paying this exorbitant amount of money. I don't feel that it has to be all that much money. I mean, everyone needs to have a right livelihood and, you know, should be paid well for their services, especially if they have a gift or a service. But it should be within reason. It shouldn't be like, you know, $5,000 to do a spell, which I've heard is not uncommon.
Wow, that is a lot of money.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's just, yeah.
You also work with Akashic records. The first thing I'm going to ask, can you please explain the term Akashic record?
Yes. The Akashic records are the record of the soul since its inception. I was trained through the Edgar Cayce Foundation, the ARE, and my teacher was taught from them, so I have this lineage with them. And Edgar Cayce was known as the sleeping prophet. And if anyone out there hasn't heard of him, I suggest that you look him up. He's fascinating mystic of our time. But what I do is actually a sacred prayer, and after the prayer is said, with the client's permission, the records are opened, and the information that is pertinent to the question or to what's coming up for them right now is revealed to me. Most often it's past lives, and sometimes people have a specific question and the records won't open for that answer for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. So we have to kind of be flexible and let whatever wants to come through. Most times, I say 85% of the time, it is right on with what this person is wanting to know. And I've recently had a lot of amazing information come through the records where the lives that I was reading weren't on Earth. They were actually off-world. That was the information that I got, was that this was an off-world lifetime. And, you know, I really try hard not to get my mind or ego involved and not to edit the information that I'm receiving, even if it sounds outlandish to me in the moment. I just kind of let myself be the hollow bamboo vessel and say, this is what I'm receiving, and then just kind of go for it. But this one was so outlandish that I thought to myself, wow, if I was listening to this sounds really crazy.
Yeah.
One of my clients, they were coming through this other lifetime as this like purple bubble. And it was like a soap bubble that, you know, you blow bubbles when you're a child. And I've never really thought about it, but there's water, that liquid that sort of rests at the bottom of the bubble when it's formed. And that water, that liquid was talking to me. That was the consciousness that was coming through in this purple bubble. And it told me that this person, my client, had twins in this realm, a boy and a girl, and that she had been here as this purple bubble existence. And I'm telling this person, I'm thinking, they're going to think I'm just insane. This sounds crazy. So we finished the reading. I closed the records, and she was almost in tears. And she said to me, do you know, Naviae, that every night I leave my body and I have experiences off-world in realms just like this, and I've always known that I had twins, a boy and a girl, out there somewhere from some other time, some other place. And it all made perfect sense to her, and she felt like it was really valuable information. I thought, okay, well, I am never going to edit or censor myself or judge my information that comes through, because this was like, took the cake as far as outrageous stuff, and it was healing for her to hear. So
yeah,
but sometimes you get kind of out there information that doesn't make any sense to you as a practitioner, but.
Right. So these people that you were reading for, I'm trying to understand what you just said. Are we talking like aliens, or I'm not understanding?
Like the off-world?
Yeah.
Scene?
Yeah.
It felt like some other dimension, some other.
Oh.
It didn't tell me what planet it was on. It didn't tell me that it was. It was life. It was consciousness, and they took the form of this sort of plum-colored bubble, soap bubble, and the liquid at the bottom of the bubble communicated to me, and I thought about it afterwards. This was, one of the oddest readings I've ever done, and I thought about it, and I'm like, well, if we're mostly water, and water is life, that would make sense that this consciousness, this awareness of this, whatever it was, this bubble life form, was communicating to me through this water. It's deep.
Yeah.
I don't understand it myself.
Yeah. Well, and the good thing is that you just received what you received, and you gave it out. You didn't question it, and I think that's another sign of someone that definitely has a gift. And just, it's not about how good I am or whatever. I'm just telling you what I'm getting, and I think that makes the person even that more authentic. So.
It always keeps me interested in the work that I do from day to day. I'm always surprised and amazed at the information that I get. When I was training with my herbal medicine women, she would give us these drops of mystery herbs, she called them, and we would take one drop of this herb. We didn't know what it was, and we would do our trance meditation, shamanic journey with it. And whatever information we would get, we would share afterwards. And she said to me, "What did you get?" And I said, well, the herb went immediately to my ovaries. I saw myself crawling on a forest floor, and it felt like I was in the southeast of the United States. And that's what I told her. And she said, well, that makes sense because it's squaw vine. It's a creeping vine, and it works on the ovaries, and it grows in the southeast. And I must have had my mouth gaping open. And then she looked at me and she said, Naviae, I keep trying to tell you, these plants are people. There's consciousness.
Yeah.
She said, don't look so surprised. And I'm like, oh yeah. But even as a medicine woman and a mystic, I'm still like, oh yeah, this is amazing, because we see and experience so much, but then we're always blown away because it's so intricate. Everything is so woven together. It's pretty fascinating. I'm happy that I get to be a mystical woman in this incarnation.
Absolutely. So I wanted to ask you, when you're looking at the Akashic records, does time have any relevance, or whenever you're looking at these past lives, are you able to specifically get dates or years or centuries or whatever, or no, and you just, how does that work?
Yes, I am. Oftentimes I will ask. I use the pendulum as a backup a lot, just to kind of confirm myself in I use just a rutilated quartz pendulum. So I will ask, and I'll get the information through the records, and then I'll double check myself with the pendulum. So I recently had a reading with someone from my Archer Moon Creation website who I've never met. She was in England and had some questions. So it was an email reading. I hadn't even spoken to her on the phone, and all I knew was her name, her birthday, and these 5 questions that she had. And I had she wanted to know about her creativity, and it was kind of stagnant. So I opened the records, and I saw this woman, this soul, was a man, and she was in this large studio room, and right away I try and orient space and time. So I say, okay, is this person in, on Earth? And I got no. But they looked human, and it looked like it was somewhat modern times. And I got that it was 1500s Earth time, but it wasn't on Earth. And I couldn't get where specifically in the universe it was. I'm not even sure that it was in this universe. It could have been like interdimensional. But that's what I got. And it felt like there was two suns. Just the quality of light felt like there was two light sources from outside coming in both sides of the warehouse studio that they were in. It was pretty cool reading because I saw that this person started painting and kind of used magic in the paintings, and it kind of went awry. Not to get too much information, but when I wrote that to the woman present day, she told me that she was a painter and that she was having a lot of difficulty creating. So I had gotten this information to help her unblock, and it made a lot of sense. So, and I told her about the, possible interdimensional or otherworldly aspect of it, and she said that made perfect sense to her too. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I think we're in more places than we know, and there's more dimensions than we know, and more life happening in the web than we're ever possibly able to know or conceive of.
Exactly. Absolutely. This is Tony Valen, host of Healing from Within. You can contact me, Tony at TonyValen.com, or visit our website, healingfromwithin.net. Follow the show on Twitter at TVHFW. The show is also available on iTunes and YouTube. Just search Healing from Within with Tony Valen, or look for the Tony Valen channel on YouTube. We're talking to our guest, Naviae Seastar. Naviae is a psychic, intuitive empath, and a pagan priestess. You can learn more about Naviae by going to Naviae.com or her other website, ArcherMoonsCreations.com. Like her on Facebook, /Naviae, and follow her on Twitter, Naviae and the number 1. Naviae, you also have a blog that is a travel blog, but I want to make sure I get the name right. It's talesfromlavaland.com? Okay.
Tales from LavaLoveland.com.
Thank you. Lava Land.
Lava Loveland.
Lava Loveland. Oh my God. Got it. Perfect. So, and in speaking of that, you are getting ready to start a new adventure. Why don't you tell the listeners all about your new adventures?
We're really excited. We are actually driving across country as we speak. We stopped for the night in Texas to visit some dear friends, and we are driving to the coast, to California, to ship our cars and our belongings. And we are moving onto an acre of raw land in Hawaii, and we're going to be creating a shipping container home there. And we really want to be as off-grid as possible using solar power catchment, utilizing the rainwater, which is ample there. And I plan on having permaculture gardens and trying to grow as much food, vegetables, and fruit as possible.
Wonderful. Now, tell us about the blog. What is the purpose of the blog that you're creating and keeping up with?
Well, for me, I love to write, and process is a really good tool for me to kind of work my thoughts out and to go back after I've written it, sort of like stream of consciousness, and then afterwards review and just kind of get in touch deeper with myself, but also my hope is to share and inspire others to write and also to dream big and think about what else is possible. I've seen so many people at the end of their lives sort of regret what they haven't done. And life goes by so fast. And I'm 42 now, and I still can't believe that, probably half my life or so is behind me. And I really want to make sure that all the future chapters are lived to the fullest, and that I feel good at the end of my earth walk, that I've done all I can to help others, inspire others, be creative. I think is the biggest thing for me right now, is just to keep vital, to keep feeling like I'm creating and being alive. And I know that a lot of depression amongst my clients and society in general is through collapsed energy, creativity that's not being expressed and is sort of dormant and stagnant, festers inside of us, is like apathy, rage, indifference, depression, sadness. And we are all creators. So, whether it's cooking, whether it's building a tiny home, whether it's, art of some sort is inside of all of us. And you just have to kind of tap into it and make time for it, because that's what really matters. At the end of the day, you feel like you've turned your feelings or your thoughts, your ideas into something outside of yourself. And that is art, whether it's a cupcake or whether it's a painting.
Absolutely. And you chose Hawaii. Honestly, I can see why, because it's beautiful. But apart from the obvious, why Hawaii?
Hawaii, I had lived there 13 years ago, and that was the beginning of one leg of my big spiritual journey. It's a very powerful, sacred place, and my boyfriend and I visited there a few months ago, and he honestly got the tap from Hawaii. There's a strong consciousness there that seems to call people to it. And I also seen that same energy push people off and tell them, okay, you've been here long enough, now go. And I've seen people resist it, and sort of like one calamity after the other, until they finally go, oh, maybe I should move on. So I feel like the consciousness of Hawaii wants us there, wants us to help create something there. And I feel like that's opening up wide for us in a beautiful blessing sort of way. So we're listening, and it hasn't been an easy process, but I know that we're going to be happy that we did it at the end.
Right. And you said you're building a house out of shipping containers. How does that work?
Well, shipping containers are strewn about all the coasts right now. If you drive down any coastal city, you'll see, especially ports in like Seattle, for example, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these metal shipping containers that are used in shipping, and sometimes they just retire them and they just sort of sit there and rust and nothing happens to them. And it's, perfectly good, strong, sturdy structures that you can turn into a home. Mm-hmm. There's a whole movement of people using recycled shipping containers to build houses with. If you go on Pinterest, you'll see there's just pages and pages and pages of them. Some more elaborate than others, and you really don't need more than one or two to build something decent. We're going to do 4 and have a second floor, so 2 on the bottom and 2 on top. I really don't want to feel like I'm living in a trailer or a tin can, so we're going to institute a lot of light, a lot of windows, a lot of French doors, and that sort of thing, to kind of bring in a lot of natural light. But you don't have to. You can use your own aesthetic. Yeah, and, it is on a hurricane, tsunami zone, and all that sort of thing, so we want it to be super sturdy. And it is cost effective, because if you were going to build, say, a wood house, it would cost a lot more than just putting 4 shipping containers together and having 1,300 square feet.
Right, absolutely.
So it's kind of good for everybody.
Well, it sounds wonderful. So you'll be doing the shipping container home. You'll be growing your own food and living off of rainwater. It sounds wonderful. It sounds so authentic.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel
really excited?
Yeah. So do you think this is going to be a change where it'll help you connect even more with Spirit and Mother Earth? And, does it make you a more spiritual person?
That is my ultimate goal always is to lead a more authentic life and to simplify. One of my blogs was called Parigraha, which is one of the principal tenets of Ashtanga Yoga, talking about, whatever you need is present in the moment and not to hoard, not to collect, not to hold on to things, and to kind of, keep it light enough to travel, so to speak. So having what you need present and using and not taking more than you need is sort of like that, Hindu or yogic or Buddhist way of walking, treading lightly in the world, that you're not consuming and, hoarding, and being mindful that, possessions take up space in your energy field, and you start to feel weighed down. And there's actually, in like West African tradition, if you're a collector, if you say that you collect bells, and the people who have like hundreds of bells in their collection, the African shamans would look at that and say, this person has an imbalance. Something's wrong with them. Why are they collecting hundreds of bells? The bells symbolize the voice. They symbolize your sound. They symbolize freedom. So how aren't you free? How aren't you communicating? Why are you, holding on to this object that gives you that sense of, ringing in freedom and sound? I know for years and years I was in this unhappy relationship when I was 17, 18, 19, and I used to collect things that had hearts on them, and it was because I didn't feel loved in this relationship.
Yeah.
So that was my way of like crying out for what I needed. So now when I see people who collect even like magical things, I need to have 14 cauldrons. Well, why? Maybe you just need one. Maybe you need a big one and a small one. Why are you collecting all these? Why are you filling? What are you filling? Why? So that's something to be like mindful of. And moving to the jungle and only having so much to work with and not needing a whole lot, turning to nature for what you need instead of objects is super healing. As modern day humans, I think we need to become a little bit more feral.
Absolutely.
A little more primitive.
Wow. Absolutely. And so when you are there, what services will you be offering? Will you still be offering everything that you do, or what is going to change for you and what you do now?
I am so excited to be still offering psychic readings, Akashic records, tarot, and the like. I can even do distance healings. And I'm currently doing that now. I have clients in Europe and Canada, all over the U.S. that I'm not able to be physically present with. And we work all that out through my Archer Moon creation site. And I'm still going to be doing that. I'm still going to be doing my spell and intention candles and my other curios. And I'm hoping that one of the shipping containers can be my candle studio and temple. It might end up being a yurt. We're not sure of the logistics of it yet.
Being a what?
Really excited to.
And I'm sorry, I didn't understand it. What was that? Being a what?
I'm not sure.
Oh, you said you want one of the shipping containers to be your candle, to where you do the candles, but there was something else that you mentioned, and I thought I heard you say yurt.
A yurt is a Mongolian sleeping hut. Traditionally, that's what the definition is, but it's just a round building with like a fabric sides. It's very kind of womb-like. It's really a good space. So either one I'd be happy to create there.
Okay, perfect. And so you said you do Skype readings also, is that correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
I do Skype, email, or phone.
That's wonderful. So why don't you tell the listeners what your Skype name is and the email and everything, so they'll be able to get a hold of you.
I'm not sure offhand. I'm pretty sure it's Naviae. But I haven't looked that up in a minute, so I'm not positive. They can always get in touch with me, and then we can exchange Skype information if that's how we want to do the readings.
Oh, okay, got it. So they would just go to your Archer Moon's Creations webpage and then go from there?
Yes, and then they can tell me if they prefer a face-to-face reading on Skype or if they're good with a phone or email. We can work out the details that way.
Well, that's wonderful. So, Naviae, is there anything else that you want to tell us about? Are you writing any books, doing anything else besides the blog?
I have an ongoing sort of book forming on the side of all of this, and I'm feeling like the blog is taking precedence right now because it's just so in the forefront of everything that's happening. But honestly, I feel like the blog and my previous book information is going to be blended into more of a picture book, sort of like lots of visuals and lots of poems with the stories. So yeah, it's still being formed and created. Last time we talked, the Hawaii project wasn't on the table at all. So the book was more in the limelight for me, but now, just days till we shove off to the tiny island. So it's more of a blog focus right now.
Oh, wonderful. Well, Naviae, thank you. I want to really thank you for being on the show again. And I know that you're on the road, and I'm very thankful that you took time to be on the radio with us. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Our thanks to Naviae Seastar. Naviae is a psychic, intuitive empath, and a pagan priestess. You can learn more about Naviae by going to naviae.com or her other website, which is archermooncreations.com. And visit her on her blog also, talesfromthelavaloveland.com. You're listening to Healing from Within with Tony Valen here on Blog Talk Radio, airing Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. Visit our website, healingfromwithin.net, or contact me directly, tony@tonyvalen.com. Please follow the show on Twitter @TVHFW. The show is also available on iTunes and YouTube. Just search Healing from Within with Tony Valen, or look for the Tony Valen channel on YouTube. Thank you so much, and love and light from all of us here at Healing from Within.